franktalks.com.
Remember to sign up for the Coping with Loss newsletter and get weekly supporting messages to help you manage your bereavement, grief, and mourning. You are not alone. Sign up at franktalks.com now.
Check out the Frank Talks Relationships column currently running in the Suburban Newspaper online magazine. To read more, please visit thesuburban.com.
Need help with love, sex, dating, and relationship issues? Help from Frank Kermit, the best-selling author and Canada's most international relationship coach, is only a click away at franktalks.com. Coaching available in person, by phone, and by Skype. For singles, couples, and alternative lifestyles, franktalks.com.
Relationships, sex, passion with Dr. Laurie Betito. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Welcome to Passion, a show about love, sex, and relationships. Tonight on the program, very special dating dilemma show. Of course, leading up to the holidays, we always talk about singlehood, how to handle being single, different ways we can react. So we have a very special panel. Your chance to ask questions, give comments. Frank Kermit is here. He is our dating coach. He's the relationship columnist for the Suburban Newspaper online magazine. He's with us every single month, sometimes several times a month, depending on what we're doing. And as a very special guest, Natacha Noel is here. She is the founder of Absolute Bachelor Club. She's a certified matchmaker, one of the best in the city. And this is a very special, I guess it's a, how would you explain it, Natasha? How would you explain Absolute Bachelor?
Absolute Bachelor Club is the place for professional gentlemen to come and to meet the woman of their dreams. So we match professional men and women together who have similar interests, who are looking to be in a committed relationship, and who are busy professionals and or retired, depending on the age, but who are looking for love.
So you bring in men and women. Obviously, men and women can sign up, even though you say Absolute Bachelor.
So most of my clients are male,
okay,
but I do take some women.
Okay.
And obviously need women and men to match together.
That's right. That's right. So I hear you have a very special offer for our listeners for the holiday season. What
Absolutely. Dr. Laurie, I wanted to offer your listeners something very special. So if you are male, age 60 and up, I'm going to give you free matchmaking. You've got to sign up before January 15th and be interested in meeting a lady that is up to your own age.
Okay, so you don't want anybody who's 60 who says, please find me a little 25-year-old.
No.
Right. Okay, that makes some sense to me. All right, that's great. So that's a free service for 60-plus guys.
That's correct.
Wow. Okay, I know that there are a lot of men that age listening to this show. I can tell you that for certain. Are you one of those guys? Give us a call here, 514-790-0800 or 514-800. The way to get to Natasha, all you have to do is tell her that you heard this offer on CJAD, absolutebachelorclub.com, or they can, is there a phone number?
1-855-487-5487.
Okay, so we'll keep that and we'll give out that number throughout. All right, so let's start the program as we always do with Frank in terms of what are the different ways that singles tend to react to the holiday. I know you're busy during this time as a coach, as a personal coach and a dating coach. People come to see you because they're hurting, no?
The holiday time is a time of reflection, and this is when people realize they're either really, really happy with the way things are going, or they're really, really not happy.
Even if they're in relationships?
Even if they're in relationships,
right. 'Cause I just read some studies about that. The holidays are a time when a lot of breakups happen.
Exactly. A lot of people are now newly broken up, and I'm getting phone calls and emails saying, look, we just got out of this long-term relationship. We've been together forever. I didn't see this coming. Now what?
Right before the holidays.
Right before the holidays.
You know what I hear is that if you don't do it before the holidays, they say like Thanksgiving is the cutoff date, because then if you don't do it at Thanksgiving, then you have to kind of commit yourself to the next, like to get through Valentine's Day, because otherwise it's crueler to break up like right before, major holiday. But we have Christmas and then New Year's and then soon after Valentine's Day, right?
I'm not a fan of that thinking. When you already know that you don't want to be with somebody, the most compassionate and ethical thing you can do is set that person free right away. Because the longer you keep them involved when you have no intention of being serious with them and continuing to date them, the more harm you're doing that person.
Right. It's also confusing. Usually people who hang on are sending mixed messages.
Exactly.
So a lot of confusion.
Exactly. It's unethical. If you're not happy in the relationship you're in, break up. And I know, well, it's the holidays. Let's wait until after the holidays. Listen, all you're doing is you're sending a message to that person that you want to continue to be in that relationship. And don't assume that nobody else wants to date your soon-to-be ex.
Right.
Because there's probably a lineup you don't know about. That's
always a nice thought. And with Natacha leading the way.
Yes.
I just had a picture of you doing that. You know that when you go to weddings and you do the line, what's that song? What's that dance you do?
The line dancing.
Yeah,
the bunny hop.
It's like a little bit like the bunny hop, but you collect all your bachelors and then your bachelorettes. and here they are.
That's where they throw the garter belt, and all the guys have to catch it. And if they're single, they're in that group.
Too works, but that's not what I'm talking about. But you just go around in a chain. Anyway, I just had this vision of Natacha and all her single people behind her, and doing the dance. But
I love it.
I know. Well, that's what you do, and clearly, you love your job. So, okay, if you're single now, what are some of the things that you want to focus on post-holiday? Like, what are some of the, I don't like to say resolutions, but what are some of the things that you would say, okay, what do I need to do? I guess you have to find out what you want, really.
Well, first of all, if you weren't happy being single during this holiday season, the good news is you got about 12 months to make sure that you're not going to be single next holiday season.
Although a lot of people really hate the creeping up of Valentine's Day right after Christmas. Well, not too long after Christmas. So that's a hard one, too.
Valentine's Day is only a month and a half into the new year. You still got a good 4 to 6 weeks to get off your behind and get busy. And stop waiting for it to just happen.
Well, that's a good point then. That's one we can say. Stop waiting for something to happen. Make it happen. Be proactive.
I mean, for Natacha, you have clients coming in, and they're not waiting for you just to magically appear to them. They're calling you.
That's correct. So they've made it a point to look for different avenues to meet and determine that matchmaking is something they want to try. Perhaps they've tried online or not, or have asked their friends for introductions. This is one of the things that I ask and tell everyone to do. You must ask everyone you know for introductions.
Right. Let everyone you know you're looking.
That's correct.
And that's whether you're gay or straight or whatever. It doesn't matter. You just let everyone you know that you are looking to be matched, and then that's obviously a very good way to meet somebody.
And good old networking events. I say also wear conversation starters, and make sure you've got something that's going to appeal, and someone can talk about your shoes, or maybe it's your purse, or
an interesting shirt you're wearing, or something it says something on it that somebody else says, oh, that's cool. What does that mean?
Yes, and be open to having the conversation with them, because maybe if they're not your match, they know someone who can be.
And make sure you have something to say. I was out with a client recently, and a girl tried to start a conversation with him.
Okay.
And he abruptly ended the conversation.
By? What did he say?
By not having anything to say to get social. She came up to him and saw that he had something in his shopping cart. And she says, if you want like that, you might like this thing too. Now, she wasn't a salesperson. She just noticed that he had something in his shopping cart.
She was being friendly.
She was being friendly. And his sole response was, well, this really isn't for me. And ended the conversation there. As opposed to saying, well, it's not for me, but let me ask you something. Would you like something like this?
What a good teachable moment for your clients. Good thing you were there with him.
Unfortunately, he didn't get the phone number, but next time.
Yeah. Next time. Well, but those are good examples of how you can turn something around, and this is what coaching does, right? Is just
Exactly.
being able to give examples and role play some of that stuff with them so that they can learn how to
Exactly.
take advantage of these and just start talking to people and continue conversations.
Most people
key.
don't know what to say.
Yeah, that is the problem. We'll take a short break and come back with Natacha Noel of Absolute Bachelor Club and Frank Kermit here on Passion on CJD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Dating dilemmas tonight on the program, which means we focus on dating issues, and obviously with the holidays, and I talked about it with Anne, like I say, this afternoon, on being single and the difficulties you have in the holidays and the pressure when you're with family. And when we were talking with Anne, I just said, look, if you feel very pressured and going to all these family things because you're single, you're allowed to say, no, I'm not going to go to everything, You're allowed to set your boundaries. Tonight we have, as we do for every dating dilemma, Frank Kermit is here. He's a dating coach. He's written many books on the issue of dating, and he's the relationship columnist for the Suburban Newspaper Online Magazine. We also have as a special guest, and actually she's been here before, Natacha Noel. She's a certified matchmaker, so if you have any questions about matchmaking, she can help. She's the founder of Absolute Bachelor Club, a matchmaking agency for professionals and public figures. So a bit high end, I would say, and she's here to help as well. And she has a very special offer right now going on until January 15th. Any male who is 60 plus who is willing, who isn't just looking for somebody much younger, who actually is willing to go up to somebody of their own age, gets a free membership up until January 15th. So mention that you heard it right here on CJD. So we were talking about the fix-ups and telling, Natacha had suggested, tell everybody you know. And Angelo says, no action, you get no reaction. Preaching the word that you are looking is the secret. And I think that's getting all your options out there, right?
Right, but then you also have to face the stigma that comes with that.
Well, how come people... Well, this is the thing. I've heard from people who say, I don't do blind dates. What does that mean, I don't do blind dates? Why not?
Within the work that I do, I often find that there are some people that are very attached to this story that they've conjured up in their brain about how they're going to meet somebody.
Okay.
And that if it doesn't follow through this particular storyline of we're supposed to meet and we're supposed to date for this many times and we're going to have our first kiss at this point and our song is going to be
You know what I think it is, Frank? I think is that they're looking for the story they can tell their children. It's like the movies, right? All the romantic comedies. It's like, I need a story to tell my children about how we met.
You are so right. And the ones who are ashamed of online dating find that they don't tell the story of we met online. They create a new story to tell friends and family how they met because they don't want to say we met online.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, but okay, but this is what bothers me. These same people are going out to nightclubs and having one-night stands and so on and so forth because they're alone and they're just looking to fill in the void, fill in the emptiness, to get some companionship. And it's like, come on, if you're serious that you want to create an amazing story about how you met someone, then you have to go out and meet people.
Right. And why does it have to be an amazing story? It goes back to that, does it? Why can't it be we met through friends? What's wrong with that?
And that's what's amazing is we met.
Right, just the fact that you met.
Right.
Who cares how you got to the point of that first date? The amazing story is what you create on that first date.
Right, and that you create something together. You don't have to have a story to tell.
But some people are too attached to this fantasy they've built up. And if it doesn't happen in the same way that they have predicted in this fantasy, then they almost resent the help.
It's unfortunate because they're cutting out a whole segment of a whole potential, and as we get older, maybe I get it when you're younger, like when I'm noticing now, the young adults and what have you, they hang out in social circles. So it's kind of blind dating, but not, they kind of, oh yeah, I have a friend and my boyfriend's friend and da-da-da. So the networking is easy for them. It gets much harder when we are professionals, when we're working every day, when there's not that much time to go out. That's when it gets difficult, right? Because we have lost the natural networking just environment that we had in our 20s.
Basically post-university,
Right?
post-studies.
Yeah.
Well, this is why I think a lot of professionals seek out matchmaking.
Absolutely. Just to have we have large networks of people. People are creatures of habits. They go to the same stores. They go to the same place of work, same bank, same grocery stores. And then when do you start meeting different people?
Right, new people.
New people.
Right, instead of the same old people at the same old places.
And one of the things we also talked about was how some people are so frustrated with dating in general that they don't want to have to go through X number of dates before they find someone that they want to keep seeing for a second or third time.
I see that every day, Frank. They come into my office and they tell me, I wish I could just be in the relationship already.
They want to skip over the dating part.
They do.
The getting to know part. But that's the exciting part. And it can be a whole learning experience for yourself. So if you approach it with, I'm going to learn something about me throughout this process, right? And I'm going to do this as an adventure.
Self-discovery. It's an
and
adventure of self-discovery.
when I was way back in the day dating, I would go out on blind dates, and I always thought, you know what, this is interesting. Everybody has a story. Everybody's interesting in their own way. They may not be for me, but they're still interesting. There's still something, right? And then that person may be good for somebody else. That's the key, right? You're listening to Dating Dilemmas tonight on Passion. If you'd like to add to this and being single on the holidays and how you feel about that and how you cope, give me a call here at 514-790-0800 on Passion.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Tonight on the program, Dating Dilemmas, Frank Kermit is here. He's a dating coach, a relationship columnist for the Suburban Newspaper Online Magazine. He's with us every month. And Natacha Noel is the founder of Absolute Bachelor Club, a matchmaking agency for professionals and public figures as well. If you have questions for my guests or you want to talk about whether it's difficult being single into the holidays, during the holidays, do you avoid being alone? What do you do? If you want to help others, now's the time. You can give us a call or text us at 514-800. So Kevin writes, as long as you have good friends that love you and maybe you're cooking too, then you don't need to feel pressured to have a girlfriend during the holiday season if you are confident with your independence. The reality of life is that we all want someone, but we don't need someone to be happy. Ooh, this guy learned. There's a huge difference between occasionally feeling a little lonely and being alone in life. I'm happy to be a single man. The key is to be happy with one's own life first and foremost. I think that's brilliant. I mean, what he's saying is so true.
I like what he's saying. The question I have is he hiding behind that so that he doesn't have to go out and date? And I don't know who Kevin is. I've never met the man. But I've heard the same thing from a number of men who claim they're happy being single and they're using it as an excuse to just date casually but never get serious because they have no interest in ever getting serious with someone.
Okay, well, that's a possibility too. Although I don't get the sense here, but I like what he says in terms of everybody wants to be with someone. In other words, we're meant as humans to be connected, but you shouldn't be in a position of need, but rather in a position of want. And that puts you in the more independent. So wanting versus needing.
I totally get that. However, there is such a case as being so independent, you turn off people who are interested in being with you.
Okay, we can talk about that. Kevin, if that sounds like you, give us text us back. Let us know. You're listening to Passion right here on CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Tonight we're talking about dating for our Dating Dilemmas segment, which we do every month here on Passion. And tonight we have a very special guest, along with Frank Kermit, who's our regular and who's a dating coach. We have Natacha Noel, who's a certified matchmaker and the founder of Absolute Bachelor Club. The website, absolutebachelorclub.com, and the phone number is 855-487-5482. 87. I'm sorry, 87. Okay, good. See, I can't even read my own handwriting. And again, I'm going to repeat. If you are 60 plus and you're a male, you can join at no cost with Natacha as long as you are willing to be fixed up with people up to your age your own age. So if you're just looking for somebody who's much younger than yourself, don't bother. But otherwise, get in touch with Natacha, and just mention that you heard it here on Passion, because this is only good for our listeners, okay? So here's a couple of questions for you, Natacha. I am a female over 60, and the men in my age group want younger, or they just want their armchair and the remote. Where are the others? Isn't that a good point? That's really funny. Either the couch potato or the active guy who just wants younger. What are women to do who are older? And in good shape too. It's not about that. They want somebody active.
And I appreciate the question. So women who are 62 plus should definitely date up to 8 to 10 years older if they can.
Okay.
There are very young 68-year-olds.
That's very true.
There are young 65-year-olds. So it is a fact that even women ask me for younger men.
Really?
45 plus, that's where it starts. Everybody wants younger. That's men and women alike.
Interesting. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but they are there. So there are definitely 62-year-old men who will date up to their age. So you just got to keep looking.
I guess I don't know why they just look at the age, right? In terms of if somebody is, if you're looking for someone who's active and wants to do things, does it matter if they're 60 or if they're 70? In reality, right? Like that's what you have to sell them on, I guess, right? That's what a matchmaker would do, would look at, this is a good match. That person fits your criteria, even though they may be a tad older than what you were looking for.
Yes, and what happens is for the ladies, sometimes what they'll say is, oh, I don't want to be a nurse, or I've taken care of my ex-husband,
right.
and I don't want to do that anymore.
But that's assuming that those guys are in bad shape. But I've seen plenty of 70-year-olds that look 50.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's why they've got to keep an open mind. Men and women have to keep an open mind and not look at the number anymore.
Okay, so stop looking at that number. So this person, do you have single men over 60, and how can I meet them? I guess this is another, so the single men over 60 you would have in your bank.
So we have less clients that are over 60. Most of the clientele will be, between 35 and 55, and that's why I'm offering complimentary matching for them.
Okay.
But of course, yes, we have clients who come. My oldest client currently is 70 years old.
Okay.
So there's
so
no
actually,
age.
if you're for the female over 60, now might be a very good time to sign up with Natacha, because she just put out the call for 60 plus men who are willing. So there you have it, man. Now is definitely a good time. 514-790-0800. If you want to talk to our matchmaker or our dating coach, you could do that, or text at 514-800. Do you find it hard to be single going into the holidays? What are some of the biggest challenges, Frank, for people having to deal with this? What do they come to you for?
Biggest challenges, they start off by saying there's nobody to meet. And then we delve into what their own issues are, and it usually has to do with the fact that they're very unrealistic.
Okay, about what they want?
They're way too picky. They're way too picky. They think that they should find someone who's going to be, quote-unquote, perfect, when they themselves just don't offer that as much in the dating world.
I think that's the key. People have to understand that look at yourself first, and then expect somebody in where you're at. That's what you need.
Well, it's a start.
And ask around also, because what you may think you represent might not be realistic.
That's true too. That's quite true. I've seen those cases happen, which is like, who are you? Like, why do you want, the model, look at you. Like, what do you have to offer,
Yeah, when people come in and say, look, I want someone who looks a certain way, has this kind of lifestyle, has this kind of money in the bank, etc., etc., etc. Well, are you the type of person who could support that lifestyle? Are you the type of person that could complement that lifestyle? And usually the answer is no.
Right.
So I often find that when their standards are way higher than their actual level to attract, usually they've got some sort of fear of intimacy, and they're using those higher standards as a way to push people off.
Right. I've known a couple of guys like that, actually.
And women too.
And women too. Yeah, I've just met a few men like that, but yes, and women too.
You can...
Classics, asking me for men who have $1 million in the bank. Yes.
Boy, you're just, you're not helping the stereotype here of what women are looking for.
The stereotype
Oh, boy.
exists for a reason, eh?
Yeah, except the guys, sometimes I get such nasty emails from men who are so fed up with what women expect from guys.
Yeah.
That it is completely unrealistic.
There's a movement of men that are just saying no to dating, no to having kids, no to getting married. They get their sexual needs satisfied through either one-night stands, through prostitution, or masturbation. And their attitude is, I'm not going to even waste my time.
Are you serious?
Yes, it's called men going their own way.
There's a movement?
It's a legitimate movement, men going their own way.
Huh.
If I might add something to this, a lot of women think that they scare men off because of their high salary or because they're powerful women.
That's a good question.
And friends tell them, oh, you're scaring all the guys away.
Okay.
No.
Not true?
Women need to stop telling their friends that their friends are so perfect that they're scaring men off. Men do want to date women with great jobs.
Okay.
They come asking for women who are strong and successful. So there's room for those women too. So
it's true. That's a misperception. I think that a lot of people have that, and women themselves who are high powered or who are successful, who say that that's not what men are looking for somehow, or that they don't have any luck because they are too intimidating to men.
That's the word.
And they're not. I've actually had some women that I've coached that had careers, that had a lot of things going, and they thought the same thing. Oh, I'm just intimidating men. I can't find a real man. No, it was your communication skills that was pushing men away. He can't trust you because he knows that when you're answering his questions, you're not being legitimate.
Okay.
You're not being honest. You're giving him what he knows. You're just telling me what you think I want to hear. How am I supposed to trust that?
Do you have an example of that?
Yeah, there was one woman, she was career-oriented, and he would ask her questions such as, like, okay, well, where do you see yourself living one day? And her response was, well, I'm pretty open to wherever. Like, she didn't communicate any preferences.
Okay.
So he's thinking, you're just trying to please me. You're waiting for me to say something first because you don't want to commit to an answer that I might not like. So since I don't know what it is you really want... That
sounds pretty desperate then.
Well, it's not desperate. They're trying to be nice about it.
Okay.
They're trying to be polite about it. They're trying to give an answer that's non-committal. So this way, if he says, well, actually, I'm looking to live spend my retirement years in Florida. Oh, that sounds so wonderful.
Right.
As opposed to, well...
It certainly won't be Florida. Or something of the sort, right?
Exactly.
Somebody could say that, right?
Exactly. So these guys just figure, you know what? You're not being honest with me. I can't trust you for something long term. So I'm already here. I'll try to have sex with you tonight. And if I get sex, great. And if I don't get sex, oh well, I wasn't planning to date you long term anyway because you've already cost me the trust coin.
Okay. Here, Kevin wrote back again. You were wondering about his story. So Kevin says, I'm 56 years old, not hiding at all. I was happily married and now happily divorced. Raised 4 boys by myself. They are all doing well, and I am happy for them too. I get invited everywhere, and I'm very comfortable with my life. I had many girlfriends prior to getting married. I exercise regularly, have many hobbies to keep me busy so I don't get bored. My weekends are often full. In fact, I have never been happier. I wish I knew 25 years ago what I know now. A person has to be happy with themselves first, otherwise they never will be. Don't you agree? I do agree that you have to be happy with yourself first to be happy in a relationship. In fact, I think that's that piece. So if you're happy with yourself, you should be out looking for a partner. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to share that? You're listening to Dating Dilemmas here on Passion on CJAD.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Tonight on the program, Dating Dilemmas, and the dilemma we're dealing with is being single and finding dates. So we've invited our matchmaker here, who is Natacha Noel, the founder of Absolute Bachelor Club, the website absolutebachelorclub.com. It is an agency for professionals. So, Natacha, you're going to like this text. I'm 48, divorced. I'm assuming this is a guy. With a home in Centerville, expensive cars and businesses. I know what the gold diggers want. That's why I prefer high-end call girls for my needs, just like the gentleman on your show said. What do you make of that?
Well, the first thing I could tell him is that not all women, not all beautiful women are gold diggers. And that's what we do here at Absolute Bachelor Club is we interview, we vet them for that particularly.
You screen them so they're not
screen.
gold. But the women that you usually get are also professionals.
They're all financially stable, so they wouldn't be looking for your pockets for their own needs.
Okay.
And I understand that sometimes you're weighing the problems that may come in a relationship against what you're spending for those girls. But when you're in that committed relationship with the right woman, and then you can see her and have her support and have her shoulder for those hard days after you come back from work, there's just something so nice about being in a relationship that you can't get from those
From a call girl.
Call girls.
Of course. But there's still that fear, right? That fear that you're being liked for the money that you have in the bank.
You never have to worry when you go to a call girl. You never have to worry when you go to a prostitute because you're not paying them to stay, you're paying them to leave. And if you have a very particular taste, you can pay for exactly what you want. The flip side of that, though, is that, and I can tell you...
You're not getting intimacy, though.
You're not getting emotional intimacy, even if you see the same call girl on a regular basis.
Right. Don't disillusion yourself
You
thinking that she really likes you, because if you stop paying her, she won't like you anymore.
Yeah, and this is one of the challenges that I'm dealing with some of my male clients who frequent prostitutes.
I've seen those too.
And that is, they don't know how to relate to a girl when they are on a date. Because they're just so used to prostitutes that they end up creeping out girls that they aren't paying.
Right.
And the girls just don't seem to get, like, why are you acting that way with me? Or why would you just assume something with me?
It's true. I never thought of that transfer.
Well, it's
that
really,
men who regularly frequent prostitutes don't know how to transfer that and how to go on an actual real date. Because when you go with a prostitute, there's no date. You just go, take off your pants, do what you got to do. And
even if you have casual
it.
conversation, you can do things with a prostitute and get away with it that on a regular date might just cost you the whole date. That's what these guys don't get.
Okay.
And then when they find someone they really, really like, they mess it up. And they're right back to going to prostitutes.
Yeah. So Mark writes, I'm not sure I get this. I didn't know what I was doing. Had the name Frank gave it. I had enough, I guess the name of that group. I had enough of the trust issue, the emotional and mind games and the expectations. I found it wasn't worth it. I'm going at it on my own. So what's that movement again?
Men going their own way.
So men going their own way. Okay. Here's another one. I'm a male, 47. I don't bother dating any woman over 35. Too many mental and emotional hang-ups and baggage, multiple kids with multiple men, needy baby mommies, looking for next poor fellow that's supposed to fix all their past mistakes. A big hello to Frank. He knows what he's talking about. Yikes.
Yes, there's a lot of men who are very fed up, but this comes from some of their experiences where they date women that already have kids and they're just looking for the next guy who's... And they're not looking...
I don't know.
But they're
That's
looking to
quite
get
a
serious.
generalization, I'm sorry to say.
Some of these women, not all, but some of these women are looking for the next guy to come in and get serious right away and say, come on, my kids need a dad and they need a figure here. And these guys are, hey, come on, we've only been dating 3 months. Slow down.
Right. Well, yeah, that isn't the best motivation for getting into a relationship. No. More, if you have questions, we still have a bit of time. If you have comments, some of your own situations, a lot of dilemmas here. A lot of unhappy people, and it seems anyway from the text that we're getting. And if you want Natacha Noel to help you out here with Absolute Bachelor Club, she can. You're listening to Passion on CJAD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Dating dilemmas tonight on the program with Frank Kermit and Natacha Noel of Absolute Bachelor Club. So Kevin writes back... I am interested always in relationships. Dare I say there are 4 women I'm interested in. However, it would be unfair to them or me to get involved. I think because of his 4 kids, I guess. I'm not sure. On the same token, I trust my guts when it comes to these things. I don't trust my heart or my brain, as those 2 things argue all the time. Your gut instinct never lies on those decisions.
I like Kevin because he's being honest.
I like him too.
In all of his texts, Kevin has been honest.
Yeah. Another texter says, tell your girlfriend that you lost all your money in the stock market and see how long she sticks around. Unfortunately, that's an attitude we get, right? That's the attitude. Okay, in the last minute we have left, Natasha, I want you to, again, give us the offer that you have for our listeners.
Yes, absolutely. If you are a man over the age of 60 looking for a significant other, please contact me at www.absolutebachelorclub.com. I will give you complimentary matching until January the 15th, and you must mention passion.
That you heard it right here. You can also call Natasha at 855-487-5487. But you're easy to find on Facebook and all that, right?
Yes, everywhere.
Everywhere. Well, guys, thank you. Thank you very much. Have a great holiday, and we will catch up with you in the new year. Natasha, I hope you'll join us again, because I want in the new year to talk about the different services. I think a lot of people don't really know what matchmakers do, what the difference between that and other services that are out there. So it'll be a good opportunity for us to see each other
I would
again.
love to come back, Dr. Laurie.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Frank. We'll catch up with you on the Boys Club in a couple of weeks.
Yep, this is our last time together before the new year.
Right. It's not the last, but
we're going into the beginning of year 6.
That's right. Just for 2014. Yay. Thank you all. Thanks to David Simon in Master Control. Always a great job. Well done. Up next, CJAD News, followed by Joey Elias and The Comedy Show. Wishing you a wonderful rest of the evening and reminding you that life is short, so do stop to smell those flowers and indulge your passions.
Listen to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD and CJAD.com.
Remember to sign up for the Speed Dating Advice newsletter and get weekly tips to increase your matches. Learn every speed dating secret that speed dating companies don't want you to know. Sign up at franktalks.com now.
Need help with love, sex, dating and relationships? Visit franktalks.com.
If you need help with your relationships, my buddy Frank, he's got some tips. Just go to franktalks.com. His advice is better than your mom's. He knows what you're going through, 'cause Frank has been there too. So log on to franktalks.com. franktalks.com.
Stop being single. Remember to sign up for the Stop Being Single newsletter and get weekly tips about how to stop being single and how to start up a love life. Sign up at franktalks.com now.
Remember to sign up for the Successful Marriage Secrets newsletter and get weekly tips about building a better, stronger, and loving marriage today. Sign up at www.franktalks.com now.
franktalks.com, franktalks.com, franktalks.com.